Hey, peace and blessings, family. It's yours truly, your brother, Amar Mari. I am the founder of Uwapele Movement. Uwapele Movement is a ministry where we focus on your spiritual, your physical, and your financial well-being. My queen, Amani Amari, is the co-founder, and I'm so excited. I just come on here just for a brief moment just to a couple testimonials with you in regards to what has been transpiring with some friends of mine in my circle who has known me prior to my transitioning from religiosity to spirituality, one of which is a friend that has known me since 1997. Okay. And another friend has known me for about, I would say, at least 9 years now, or 8 years, roughly around there, who knew me. Both knew me when I was walking on that path, and they experienced seeing me transition. And one of them called me at close like to the beginning of this year and told me, actually last year it was, and had told me about his spiritual experience that he had with the ancestors. And this friend I have, he also was pastoring at the time, and he began to question things and began to pardon me, please. I want to make sure that I turn this completely off. All right. So he began to seek a higher level of consciousness without me even approaching any of them. I never went to anybody, believe it or not, never went to anybody personally after I received the revelation I had received. And I actually just went to the airwaves, and from my research, I'm a person that I don't ignore the truth. Once I see the truth, I accept the truth for it being the truth, and I leave it as that. Okay. Once you experience the truth, a lie doesn't even make sense anymore. You can't even make it make sense because the truth rebuttals it. It debunks it. So with myself, I know not only just knowing the truth sets you free, contrary to popular belief, but it's the implementation of the truth that will set you free. And so I'm so excited, that one of my friends, he called me today, man. Brother Tommy Jones, he told me, he gave me the permission to be able to share this with you all. And he's known me since 1997. And him also being a preacher, and his queen came into the knowledge of the truth as well in her research. And they both have been enlightened, and they both have accepted, who and what they are. And now they're doing their African DNA. And he called me today and he said, what happened? What caused you to relinquish your position and the transition from religiosity to where you are? And for any of us who are liberated in our mind, who has been set free from man-made doctrines, traditions, and commandments of men, that people claim to be, divinely inspired, we all understand that higher consciousness, there's another level. We all understand how liberating it truly is to truly be set free and not have a false sense of spiritual security, not to have artificial support, in our lives. We all understand, those of us who have transitioned from being concerned about the aftermath of us making our proclamation in a public arena, that it doesn't even matter anymore. It doesn't even matter anymore. So that's the reason why this title is Your Labor Isn't in Vain. And so many people, they have so much to say, but I'm telling you, man, the fruit that a person bears speaks volumes for them. Your lifestyle shows where you are, and people's lives are being touched. And we can't expect for someone who has been following after something for an extensive period of time, once they hear something that is true, for them to just turn away from what they know to be true as they know it, that for some has been following that ever since they were children into adulthood. And some found this faith in their adulthood, but they have been practitioners of that for an extensive period of time. Or some of them have been taught that when they were younger, okay, and never practiced it when they were younger, and then came to it as an adult, and then this information is presented to them. This is a time where I'm seeing a lot of people's consciousness being awakened. And I'm so excited because people are starting to recognize the difference between man's teaching and truly being inspired by the divine. People are really starting to recognize the wisdom of man and the wisdom of the divine. And that is true liberation. When people start to find relationship instead of religion, they're starting to find spirituality instead of man-made doctrines and opinions and commandments of men, that actually incarcerates them and keeps them from truly blossoming into what they really are. And before we're African, before we're anything else, okay, the truth of the matter is you're spiritual first. You're a spirit being first. Your spirit existed, all right, before you even came to this earth realm. And it's very critical for people to find that balance in their life. Okay. I myself personally, I refuse to ignore my supernatural experiences, my spiritual experiences. I refuse to push those aside just so people won't think I'm crazy, because I'm not concerned about that. You understand what I'm saying? See, I know that I'm not, okay, out of my mind in a sense of being mentally unstable. Okay. When you're in this world and you're not of this world, that means that you're spiritually minded. You have your ori, your spiritual mind, and your spiritual mind is you. So I'm not out of my mind. I'm actually in my mind, because I recognize that this flesh is just a housing for my spirit. I understand that. But for those who have not evolved there yet, unfortunately, they will speak negatively about it. Okay. And they will call it spookism. Okay. And so for myself, I've seen signs, I've seen wonders, I've seen miracles when I was in the church. Okay. When I was a part of Christendom and when I transitioned from it. So see, I'm not one of these people who have heard some testimonial and I had never experienced anything on both sides of the fence. I've experienced spiritual things, divinely inspired things on both sides of the fence. Okay. So I'm not one of these people who get up here and talk about things I've never experienced. And so it's beautiful to have people that are close to you, for them to come into the knowledge, the true knowledge of the truth, the true facts about who and what they are. Okay. As it relates to the earth and as it relates to the spirit. And one thing for those of you who are searching, because I know, and I'm just not one of these people who are just saying this, I know because of my own supernatural encounters. I know that everybody that's connected to me, that listens to these videos, or who don't even say anything, but you're watching these videos, I know that you have been sent here for a purpose, because there's another level for you. There's another level. There is another level. And one thing I need people to understand is that it's more to finding out your ethnicity. I want people to understand that it's not just, oh, I found this out, I know what I am. All of us know, majority of us, we know that we came from Africa. Some of our ancestors were already here. However, again, what you discover is when you learned about your ancestors, this is a teaching in E5. When you learned about your ancestors, you learn about yourself, whether it's positive or negative. Let me give you an example. My brother, my father, and I shared this before, and I just want to share this with you again because some people think this is a hoax about generational curses. No, it's not. It's a fact. I've experienced that. Okay. My father had a temper. My brother had to deal with his temper. I had to deal with my temper. My father had problems with women. My brother had problems with women. I had problems with women until I found spirituality. Okay. My father went to jail. My brother went to jail. I went to jail. So are you telling me that's a coincidence? See, some people they would stamp that, okay, with this lower level of thinking that, oh, that's just a coincidence that happened. No, anybody with a spiritual mind understands that it's something spiritual to it. Okay, family? And it's imperative that we begin to grasp this. We got to get away from this foolishness about this being spookism. Okay, because I have to challenge your desire for you to truly embrace your African side if you're speaking in that nature, because that's a oxymoron. Okay, that's contradictive. All right, because before we were cut off from our spirituality, our ancestors understood the spiritual realm. Before we crossed the seas on a ship, and even when we landed here, some of our ancestors preserved our traditions in the Americas. And the reason why a lot of us are frightened is because we weren't raised in that fashion. So it's unfamiliar. And in most cases, when somebody has embarked upon unfamiliar territory, they become afraid. Afraid. Or some, let the truth be told, some people, they become, unfortunately, envious and jealous, okay, of you because they never had an experience on the religious side or the spiritual side. So they get upset because, well, I never experienced that. Well, this is why don't you understand? You know why? Because your heart. Your heart. Your heart is not right. Just by you mocking our spiritual system, yet you make proclamation of wanting to be closer to your African nature, is a contradiction to your profession. And it's going to take you even longer for you to be able to experience these spiritual things because of your mockery of the divine. So what I'm excited about is on tomorrow as well, man, I celebrate one of my mentees who drove approximately 4 hours to sit down with me and him and I to have a dialogue. And I'm just super excited. Anybody who is in this scope of work understands where I'm coming from when you're a mentor and you see your mentees grow exponentially. Okay. When you see people in your community start to thrive and to truly live life. Because see, if you're not giving, then you're not living. If you're not giving, then you're truly not living. Okay. And this is a ministry where our attitude is servitude, and we're focused on helping people to go to another level. And for my friends, my brothers in my circle, for me to see them to evolve and to go higher and go to another level, man, I am exuberated about that, man. You know, it's just so fulfilling, you know, to have my mentee come on the program on tomorrow. So make sure you tune in. I'll be Facebook Live on tomorrow in Brother Reginald or Kingdom Work, or who is an author now, okay, who has approximately 2 books, one featured in one of his own personal book. okay, will be on the program on tomorrow. And I'm so excited about seeing this brother life transform before my very eyes. After sharing with him the wisdom that I have gained throughout my years of living, and seeing what gift is given from wisdom. Wisdom is the gift that keeps on giving. Wisdom is a gift that keeps on giving. And the longer I live, the longer I want to hold on to wisdom, and the more I see that wisdom is necessary, because the opposite of that is foolishness. And the way of a fool is hard. So what I do is I simply, honestly, I pray for those who don't understand, who think that they understand, but they really don't understand, that they come into the knowledge of the truth and true understanding. Because when you grow spiritually, it's just like your children. And this is something that I began to comprehend. Good evening, Queen Vivian. Thank you so much for tuning in. Brooklyn in the building. NYC is in the building. Much love. New York, stand up. I'm from Rochester, New York, Rock City, that 585. I know some of y'all mess with us, though, and try to tell us that's not New York. But last time I checked, it's in New York State. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. New York, stand up. One love, Queen. Thank you so much for tuning in. Good evening to you too, Queen. Thank you for your continued love and support. If you don't know Queen Vivian Reed, she is one of our elders in the community who deals with holistic health. Okay, she comes and she shares some medicinal things that will contribute to us having better health mentally and physically. Lately, she's been dealing with, mental wellness, and I'm so proud of our elder for showing other elders that your age is not an excuse. Okay, not that she's old. So Queen Mother Vivian, relax. I'm not saying you old. Relax, Queen Mother. All right. Love you dearly. Love you dearly. Thank you so much again for your love and support. We greatly appreciate it. So, family, I just wanted to come on and just give you that quick testimonial, and to let you know that your labor is not in vain, family. We've been at this, my queen and I, we've been at this for some years now. Now mentees are starting to come along for entrepreneurship and for spiritual evolution. And so we're very excited about those who are also involved in fighting against injustice, and they have a spiritual base in their life, and to truly give them an introductory about what it looks like. Family, I once used racial slurs. I once was a person who was extremely ill-tempered. Okay. And not that I have arrived, but let me tell you something. Spirituality will cause you to face the negative things about you. It will cause you to look at your negative behavior patterns that is perpetuated by your ego. And when I read this book here, and this is a book I have been recommending to a lot of people who's been consulting me in regards to where they need to begin at. This is a book that my queen bought for me. Okay. And it's called Our Hero Lofi Song. I highly recommend this book. Highly, highly recommend this book for those who are just starting out on your journey, and you're transitioning from religiosity, and you're trying to find a spiritual basis that's solid. I highly recommend this literature here. I highly recommend this spiritual book right here. This book right here, and I'm just a living witness to what this book will do, because it caused me to face myself, and frankly, it took me to a level that religion never took me. I'm gonna tell you right now, this took me, excuse me, please, to a level where religion had never taken me. Never taken me. Okay, and I was a bishop. Okay, and I was involved in the deliverance ministry. I was involved in the healing ministry. That's the reason why, you know, honestly, when people start running their mouth, that's the reason why I know that they don't know what they're talking about. And that's the reason why a lot of people get around me say, you must understand when you're a former bishop moving into apostleship and you understand decency and order and you understand the supernatural realm and you understand how things work and you actually operated in the gifts, you operated in prophecy, you lay hands, you seen healings happen, you seen one leg shorter than the other one grow in the service where you're preaching at. And then that woman never using the cane again after you see her daughter years later, and she'll invite you to the house to pray for her mother again. Because when you prayed for her one time, okay, her mother one time, the mother was healed instantly right before our very eyes. And I have Marines that was there with me. That was my Marines that I was leading, who came to the service to hear me preach because they seen my lifestyle. Okay, they seen me live victoriously. These people that are attaching themselves, and I'm not preaching myself, what I want you to understand is, family, is that you are who the universe has ordained you to be. And don't ever, ever replace your view of yourself with somebody else's view of yourself. You will take a detour and you will self-sabotage yourself by being that way. You will self-sabotage yourself by being that way. You will self-sabotage yourself of being concerned about how people think about you, and also, you know, being so concerned about what they think that you should be doing with your resources, okay, and with your life. No, follow after the voice of the divine. Follow after the voice of the spirit. Follow after spirit. Follow after your ori. Follow after your inner man, your higher self, your higher consciousness. Forget what these extremist, religious, high-minded, pompous, religious people and so-called conscious people say. Because one thing about me, I'm not scared. I'm not worried about nobody coming on my page, calling me out. I'm not coming on nobody platform to argue and to get into these foolish, egotistical debates that is not benefiting anybody. Nobody is evolving. Nobody's being healed. Nobody is being delivered. And that's the reason why they're stuck in the state that they're in. Okay, because they're arrogant. They don't want to learn. They just want to stay where they are. They don't want to listen. They just want to sit there and stay there and keep complaining about what they don't have and about what somebody that don't look like them doing to them. Instead of truly getting to the root of the problem and understanding that it's more to it than meets the eye. See, that's what happens. Some of these elders are only elders in age. They're not elders in their knowledge and wisdom. And we think that. Oh, they've been doing this for a long time. But anybody who's truly sensitive to the spirit and has had a supernatural experience and who is evolved in the higher consciousness began to understand, okay, that there is more than meets the eye. And we understand that we need more than this earthly information to make transformation in our lives. What we have been cut off from is beyond our ethnicity. What we have been cut off from is a spiritual mind that our people had prior to being enslaved that kept them grounded and kept their family together. This is the reason why I keep telling people it's more to it than wearing a dashiki. It's more to it than touching the soil of our mother that has birthed all of us as African people. This is about finding good character, finding gentle character. This is about knowing who you really are and learning how to war in spiritual warfare. So many people talk about Duty Bookman, but they don't want to go there though. How he followed his spiritual system. So many people want to go there, but they don't want to talk about Queen Nanny. How she practiced her African spirituality and how she fought against the Europeans that had colonized Jamaica, and how her root comes from the Asante, the Akan in Ghana, and how a lot of our brothers and sisters on the island, okay, ancestors come from the motherland. And how they incorporated their spiritual system with their warfare. A lot of us don't understand this is one reason why they don't want you to get in touch with your spirituality, because spiritually you be able to put something on them. A lot of us are divinely protected, but we're too arrogant to acknowledge the divine energy forces, our protector spirits that protect us. This is how I know you still have an African in America mind. Race is an illusion. Ethnicity is an illusion. All of these things are of such nature, are lower nature things. When you look at somebody and you judge them by the pigmentation, that is a lower vibration, a lower frequency, but yet we keep trying to intermingle our African spirituality with these fallacies. And one thing about Iya Yamoja, one thing about the prayer to Iya Yamoja is this: for our subconscious to be washed away from these illusions. For those who really deep into this walk, your life will talk the talk for you. And you can tell a spiritually mature person by what comes out of their mouths and how they conduct themselves, inclusive with the teachings that come out of their mouths. You can tell when they're still stuck because they have not truly had a supernatural encounter. And a lot of us don't like to deal with it because we're not familiar with it enough for us to touch on these things. So we stay away from it. And so we stay in the area that we're most familiar with and where we're comfortable with, that doesn't require for us to change. So we hang around people who's on the same level as us, frequency as us, because we don't want to change. And when the spirit, the ancestors truly send a true ancestor that's embodied in the flesh, that has housed, that are gatekeepers of this information, you shut it down. Oh yeah, the spirit of Baba Shango, the spirit of truth, is here to confront you. That is the true spirit of the ancient ones. That is true, authentic African teaching. Someone that's truly tapped in don't teach those things because they understand. When you get more in depth into your spirituality, you start understanding that racism is something that has evolved from false teachings, lies that has been embedded in the mind of the races. It is a teaching. You can't shoot it out of them. You can't punch it out of them. Okay, you can't knock it out of them, because they still going to get up the same person they were. Just like somebody, like when I was in church, they said you go down the wet devil and you come up one. Same thing. What is the proof? Look at the Revolutionary War. Look at the Civil War. Did it get shot out of them? Did it get shot out of them? Even a war didn't take it out of them. You know why? Because it's a mindset. You're listening to a retired Marine who served for 20 years in the military. I understand mind programming. They'll tell you quick, you're not a civilian no more. You're in the military now. So you had to have a transformed mind? You couldn't think like a civilian no more. You had to think like a military service member. There was places we couldn't go that civilians could go, but because we were in the military, we couldn't go there. There was clothes that civilians could wear that we couldn't wear. Why? Because we were enlisted in the military. We couldn't just wear plain V-neck t-shirts for the Marines, white t-shirts. We couldn't just go out there with plain white t-shirt on and jeans and do that. We couldn't do that. It was unauthorized. So what am I tell you? When you truly transition, and it's okay, Mother Vivian, it's all right, because I love you. Trust me, I understand. It's not a lot of you elders' fault. You know, our elder, she said, I'm still an elder, baby, trying to learn. And Queen Mother, I appreciate you for confessing that and being humble enough to admit that, because a lot of our elders won't, because they so pompous, because for so many years they've been hanging around this teacher and hanging around that teacher. And that's why some of them don't understand why a lot of young people don't like to listen to what they saying, because they don't like to listen to what we have to say. Sometimes young people know more than what elders give them credit for. You got some young people that are 25 years old that are millionaires, multi-millionaires at that I can learn from. So what if I just said, well, boy, I've been living for 44 years. How you gonna tell me anything about making money? Well, if that be the case, why you broke? Why are you struggling? Why you been sitting on a church pew for 20 and 30? I went through that myself growing up in the ministry. Boy, I've been teaching and preaching longer than you've been alive. Well, if that be the case, why don't you know these simple things? And you've been reading the Bible for 20, 30 years and you haven't caught these simple things yet. But you want to use your longevity and how long you've been in a ministry. So what I want to tell you, family, is this. And I'm ending it here, man. Just continue to work, continue to labor. All right. Continue to keep your focus. Ignore these arrogant, okay, Mr. and Mrs. think they know it all individuals, because they took a couple trips to Africa and now they caught some revelations. Don't even know that they're not black, but they so deep. Because that's not associated with a specific people. The racists brought us over here and called us that. And don't you understand? Racist, and I said this before, racist and race. Think about it. Racist and race. Both of those have those words in there, racist and race, meaning competition. So they did that, okay, to categorize us, to put us in certain categories, just like credit scores. They even put us in certain zip codes. All these things are constructs to give the racists who created race control. And no one is going to persuade me before my ancestors, which I'm a Khan, and my people are Asante. Okay, in the word for dark is Tuntum. Okay, Tuntum. Okay, which is Tuntum, which simply means dark. Only thing that's saying is what hue something is, what pigmentation something is. It's not telling you what people you are. Zulu have dark skin. Bantu have dark skin. Fanti have dark skin. But there's a certain sect of people that comes along with a set of teachings, okay, that accompany the people that you identify with. Just like the Oduwa, all right, people, which we know as the Yoruba people, where Ifa accompanies their people's spiritual foundation for their people, which is not just for okay, the Odu people, because Olodumare is the creator of all things, of all life. So it's not limited to just the Odua people. So this is something that we must come to understand, man. We have to go to another level in this. We have to. And we have to learn how to humble ourselves and get our ego out of the way, okay, and learn some things. Because there's a young man on Jay Morrison team named Isaac who he teaches wholesaling. I'm old enough to be that young man's father. My queen and I, we both old enough to be that young man's parents. But this brother has a 7-figure wholesaling business. Don't I think I should listen to him? So what if I've been on this earth long? What I'm gonna learn from that boy? See, that's what I'm saying. It's too much ego tripping in amongst our people. And that's another reason why we have a hard time having a civil dialogue, because there's too many people beating their chest about what they know, what they don't know, and all sorts of stuff like this. And we have to keep going through these things, and people have to stand up and defend their character, because so many people keeps coming at them and assassinating their character because they don't think the way they think they should think. They don't act the way they think they should act. They don't talk the way they think they should talk. They don't dress the way they think they should dress. No, not me. I'm not getting caught up in that. It's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. And I'm realistic about why there's a wedge, because, you know, when you have somebody who's humble and somebody who's high-minded, you're never going to get along. And ego tripping is the reason why we keep tripping. So, you know, I just want to come on here. I just want to celebrate family. I just wanted to share that with you. Honestly, I didn't even plan on talking about that. It just came to me at the time. You know, I just wanted to share that with you all. So for those who want to continue to go to a higher level, I'm not Mr. Know-it-all. Trust me, I have a cousin that's a spiritual teacher who has been walking this walk. My cousin, Yusuf, you know, who's the one who introduced me to the spiritual side. And then my queen came along thereafter, you know, and she shared some things with me. You know, and so I continuously keep learning, and I will continue to humble myself to learn. Just like I knew nothing about the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Okay, Article 15. My cousin taught me about that, and I'm older than him. So what if I said, man, I'm older, you need to be listening to me? I would have never learned the things I know today. I learned so much from my younger cousin. I learned a lot. My other cousin, extremely younger than I, went into wholesaling. I called him, hey, cousin, hey, man, you know, I know you was in wholesaling. You know, how do I go about doing this? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do I need to do? And he started teaching me. You know, and I'm years older than him. But so what? It's about getting the information, the wisdom. So family, keep laboring. Don't let nobody intimidate you. Don't let anyone deter you. Don't allow anyone to get you off of the path, you know, that you're on. Because as I shared in the intro of this video, man, listen, eventually, you know, the fruit will manifest itself. The fruit will manifest itself. Love you all. You continue to have a blessed evening.